there's some massive news. Let's go to the New York Giants. Ladies and gentlemen, they fire Coach Daboll. He's seen walking out of his house wearing a Penn State hoodie.
Wait a minute.
Penn State needs a head coach. Brian Daboll also has kids that are currently at Penn State.
What?
He would be a massive, splashy hire. He has a lot of history of doing very good things in football outside of what he did for the New York Giants. But how many people can say they did good with the New York Giants is what a lot of people would say if you're in Brian Daboll's camp. Is this the next Penn State Nittany Lion head coach? Let's go to AQ Shipley, Penn Stater. Daboll named head coach of Penn State would make you what?
Very happy.
Okay. Boom. Okay, so this is the one. We've been kind of waiting for. We didn't know who it was going to be. We didn't know how it was going to come about. There's more jobs seemingly than there is actual names. Penn State's been sitting there. LSU obviously still wide open. We have no idea who's going to take that job, but we think it's probably going to be a pretty significant name because LSU, from Coach Saban's eyes, 5 stars fall out of trees in Louisiana. You can win in Louisiana no matter what. 3 head coaches, 2 of them had national championships. Now it's 4 head coaches, 3 of them had national championships. So the thought is LSU's good job. Florida, we assume, will be a good job. Penn State, though, in the North, great job for the Big Ten. And to kind of keep the boosters happy potentially, or the money happy, or the fan base happy, you have to make a splashy hire. Daboll would certainly be there, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think anytime you get an opportunity to get a guy that coached with Nick Saban, with Bill Belichick, offensive coordinator at Alabama, and obviously been a head coach, this is the guy. And he's an offensive genius. We haven't had a good offense 20, 25, 30 years.
Daboll going to be a head coach in college, we think he would do well?
I think he'd be great. He's an offensive genius. He really is, and he understands it. He coached in college under Nick Saban when they had a great offense. So I think that then you take what he learned from Bill Belichick. You take what he learned from being a head coach.
Yeah.
Splash hire, good offensive mind, and you just need somebody to help you navigate the NIL waters.
Kids are at Penn State?
Yeah, one of his kids is, I know one definitely, maybe 2. And he's wearing a hoodie. This is good news.
Yeah, I think he's potentially letting them know, hey, I would be open. The kids are down there, wouldn't mind heading up to State College. And I think I got a chance to chat with him at the Combine. I think he would represent Penn State pretty good. Like, I think he would be a good representation of what they could potentially be as a team. You know, he's very different than James Franklin. They're very different than James.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bit more of a visible optical dog than James Franklin, who I think James Franklin is pretty put together, which, by the way, his name, all these jobs, except for Penn State. You know, you think, like, hey, who's the top coach out there? Who's Penn State going to hire? Top coach? Yeah. Who is it? James Franklin. I don't know if they're going to hire him back. I don't know if they're going to hire him back, but it started to look like that because there wasn't a lot of names really for who was going to do it. Daboll getting fired from the Giants seemingly opens a door for Penn State to maybe make a move that everybody will like up there. And I assume Pat Kraft and everybody that's making that decision is like, hold the phone. We got a guy who wants to be here, like very, very bad seemingly, and has a big name. That could be a home run for them. Now, I'm not saying they need to. AQ's not saying that either. AQ is just saying as a member of the Penn State cult, right? You're saying.
That's right.
I'd be pumped about that.
I'd be real pumped.
And he's not pumped about a lot of things.
True.
Ever. They'll win the headlines for sure.
Yes, they certainly
call
would.
him an offensive genius. That's big coming from you.
He is. I mean, he coached with New England when they had Tom Brady. Obviously, what he did down there in Alabama and won a national championship as an OC, then a head coach. Took the New York Giants.
You're still skipping Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
He's working with Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. So Buffalo, obviously Buffalo, Josh Allen.
This guy's going to be your coach. You need to know at least where the hell he was.
I know all this stuff, but I'm just going. I'm skipping ahead to when he was a head coach, and he took the Giants to the playoffs in his first year.
And then what?
Well, then we had a little skit.
24.
But that'll happen. The NFL's a hard place to win. We talked about that all morning.
College, very easy. I understand that.
Big
But
Ten
whenever,
stuff.
Penn State could be the right spot for him. And we would like to say to Daboll, if you go to Penn State, college football would be pumped. Like, he would be electrifying it.
Yeah.
Does he know anything about all the recruiting? You say he's with Nick Saban. Nick Saban is like the greatest recruiter of all time. Does he know anything about the recruiting aspect of it all? Is he going to be able to do the NIL social part of it? James Franklin had 70 employees working just away from ball, just on everything else that was happening. He automatically inherits that, or maybe there's a change of structure. Maybe athletic department kind of runs that type of stuff. Daboll, you worry about football. We'll kind of handle everything else if we have to, because it feels like Pat Kraft as somebody that's talked to him, feels like he at least understands what it's supposed to be. I don't know if he can hands-on do it every single day, but I think they have a good vision of what it can be with massive financial support behind it. Daboll to Penn State feels like a lock at this exact moment as we sit right here.
Yeah, and like the recruiting aspect of it, it feels like if you have the resume, that speaks for itself more so than the actual recruitment, like the old school recruitment. Because if you have a resume, you don't have to go in there and say like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. Like, he made Josh Allen and didn't make him, but Josh Allen's biggest steps as a quarterback, we talk about the lasers all the time, massive part of it, but also Daboll was his OC. So was Daboll putting him in the right spots? And, you know, you can throw in a lot of different things, Diggs coming over, but for the most part, Daboll being the OC was a huge deal for Josh's, you know, success and development and growth. So him having that resume, you could even go to Jackson Dart and be like, hey, look what Jackson Dart was starting to do. Like, I love that guy. One, pretty good talent evaluator, and two, put him in good positions, and that's a massive deal. So like recruiting wise, it almost feels as though Daboll makes that easier because then he has the resume, and as we know, Penn State has the biggest bag, and a lot of coaches are getting out of coaching because that's the only thing that a lot of the recruits actually care about.
Well, just based on like what AQ said and a lot of Penn State people, like they want a big name. They don't want the next big guy in college football. Exactly. They have the money to kind of.
The money people want a big name.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so if he's available, because I mean, I think people thought maybe Daboll would get fired at some point this season, but then they started winning a little bit with Jackson Dart, and it was like, no, he's actually going to stick around. He'll be the guy to kind of take him to the next level. And if you had any knock on Drew Aller, like we were talking about him after the Orange Bowl, maybe being, you know, a top 5 pick in the draft, or I guess before the Orange Bowl. Like, I don't know if he was always good. I don't know if he really ever got any better and took that next step. So if you are like one of those people, it's like, hey, he's a actual quarterback whisperer. Look what he helped do with Josh Allen. Whether that's true or not, like, it's on his resume. If they can get a guy who he can develop into one of the best quarterbacks in the nation and all this kind of other stuff, like it's just a home run any way you look at it. So, like, if you're Penn State, you would almost think, too, that they would want to act on this fast because the longer he's out, like, there is a chance that someone else slides in and he's not there.
And on that note, Daboll can get in the building for the rest of the season here and kind of see how it goes.
Right.
Because his boys at school there or whatever.
Like
so
Rich Rod.
He's going to want to go see, get in there. Let's get, because he was at the end of the year. Last 2 games, Rich Rod was able to travel with the team, kind of see the team, and they lose to Texas Tech, I think, by like 50 or something. Like they just got absolutely steamrolled. And Rich Rod was like, okay, so we got a lot of like quit on this team. It was like, so he was able to learn the team, learn it out. That was just a couple weeks, let alone if you're able to do it here for like a month, basically, towards the end of the season here for Penn State. Could be a big advantage for them. Good for Penn State, maybe falling into something here that might be perfect for them.
How deep was he into his latest contract? Because what's his money situation? If he, because that'll kind of, is he any rush to get into another job or to leave the NFL and go back down to college? It is a head coaching opportunity, but you know how a lot of these guys feel when they get that opportunity in the NFL. I know Big Mike McCarthy talked about it, like, hey, once we get there, it's so tough to get in and stay in. Does he want to take that step back down?
It's a hilarious thing. We're just putting Daboll at Penn State. Daboll is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I got 2 years left to be a multimillionaire golfer here. So let's just all go ahead and slow our horses a little bit.
But based on his personality, do you think like that guy needs to be doing something football related?
Well, and now I'm thinking about the Hard Knocks episode. All the things that Penn State can do with the Hard Knocks clips of Daboll. Daboll looks very cool in a lot of those Hard Knocks clips, even though his record with the Giants was not good at all. Worst of all time, I think, right? I think it's the worst. To get to 60 games, I think he has the worst coaching record in New York Giants history, but he got to 60 games. There's other coaches that didn't get to 60 games, I think, right, Bruce?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he won Coach of the Year in 2022, and that allowed him this leash.
40 games, sorry.
Yeah, I think it would be a slam dunk hire, and that he is a great ball coach, and it would be a perfect fit. I didn't even think about that when I saw him sad in the Penn State hoodie. I just said, man, why does the paparazzi keep getting our coaches right after they get fired?
Yeah, because the pizza, outside? Joe Judge had the pizza and beer party.
Yeah, exactly. It happens every time. So I was bummed just seeing him bummed out like that because, you know, I don't feel like it was even probably the majority his fault with everything going wrong there. But, yeah, I think it would be an awesome fit at Penn State.
Speaking of quarterback, Daboll's gone. Now Jameis Winston's getting some shine.
Yeah.
And is Daboll gone if Jameis has been starting all season? We'll find out. What are your thoughts on Jameis Winston starting for the Giants, AJ Hogg?
Yeah, as a fan of the NFL and a fan of Jameis, I am very excited about this. But I instantly thought of Russ. Like, did they come and they sit him down in the QB room and say, hey, Jameis is going to go. Like, Russ, this is your time to be ready. We might need you. You're one play away.
I
How's
don't
it
know.
work?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I think some people were saying that maybe Shane told Russ that he could be starter for Giants, which is why he signed with Giants. So if they were to make him an emergency quarterback, it kind of be a smack in the mouth to Russell Wilson. So did Jameis know that there was a promise to Russ for him to be a starter and that Jackson Dart was going to be drafted in the first round and probably get some rub at some point? And Jameis said, it's cool. I'm just here for the vibes anyways. How do we get to this point? I don't think any of us know. But the Russell Wilson angle, certainly a fascinating one, because how does he feel? Is he a full-time backup to Jameis Winston now? Is that a tough pill to swallow, or is everybody a fan of Jameis and willing to help him, D-Buck?
I mean, we'll see. You know, who knows? And we're getting to the point where it's like about who cares? It's going to be Giants on the next year. What's going to be what's going to be the new chapter?
Got a lot of games left.
Who's going to be the new
Lot
coach?
of games.
It is a lot of games. And
We'll watch none of them.
It is good that both of these quarterbacks do have a ton of starting experience in the league, so it's not going to be too big for them. So you know, I'm looking forward to it. Like AJ said, it is going to be an exciting brand of football when Jameis is under center.
There'll be some primetime games we'll be forced to watch, but we'll
Absolutely.
certainly have an ear on those games.
No doubt about
Yeah,
it.
we might not have an eye on these games, but we're certainly going to have an ear on them, and it's going to be, what does Jameis have to say? And we will certainly enjoy that.